It's just a state, you know, like, I don't know.
What is the local law we need?
That
I'm sorry?
What kind of local law do we need, and what does it need to say?
Do we need a local law?
Yeah.
I would think you would have to have
Well,
something.
setting for example, setting speed limits on certain stretches of road.
So the law has to say Beecher Street is 30 miles an hour, Mill Street is,
Or can
I
we
think you
just
could
say
go,
Hamlet's?
Judy, I think you could go general as far as town
Just-
roads.
I think
No,
that's a
because
The
possibility.
town board is the
Most of our
governing
town
body.
are
You have
You can't
a-
say
you have
town,
a
because you've got a
town-wide
lot of
speed
town
limit.
roads
And
that are
county
not
roads.
out, that are outside of this hamlet,
Right,
where you could do
I understand.
55 or 45.
right, but it gives
No, we
the
don't
town
drive
board the
30
right to
miles.
regulate those speed limits. If it's 55, it stays 55. Inside the hamlets, they can reduce it to 30.
Or it's just the local law is as
Right.
posted on
It's just
signs?
in general.
We could technically, it would be here for 3 years.
Yeah.
I guess you'd have to figure it out, whether it's town law or traffic law or highway law, what it,
I don't know who you'd
It's gotta
have to
be.
contact. I know they tried it before, I know, I believe when Jack was supervisor, they tried doing like an area in the whole hamlet here, and it was turned down. I don't know why it was turned down, that was before my time also.
If I can speak to that. We
Just
tried to
across the
reduce
board,
the,
village speed limit's 30 miles an hour.
well, but no, because you're not a,
Village.
you're not a village. We tried to reduce the speed limit
Right.
by the town park in that area because obviously the people coming out of the park, you know, a congested area, and the county highway traffic safety
Denied it.
and the New York State Police came in and did a study, and we wanted that reduced. And the state police and the county turned us down. Regardless of whether you have whether it's a town road or not, you have to get your approval of the county and the state to reduce those areas to speed zones, just basically what you're saying. Some of these areas where they say 30, and if you're, as an attorney, like, all right, well, show me where it says that. You know,
That's the first question I would ask.
absolutely, as an attorney, you would say that. And so, even coming in from the Atlanta back road, it says 30. Well, we have been told in the past that any attorney would say, but show me the statute, right? You would say, but where does it say that?
I would.
And the county has to have that on the books, that it designated it, that area was designated and approved by the county. So, now if you see your county roads, those county roads that coming in, 36, 39, all that, are actually on the books as designated speed zones. So it's in the statute by the county. But we've tried for years to get that Atlanta back road reduced
Yeah.
to no avail, and including the state police.
Because that's a county road?
No, it's
No, it's a town road,
Town road, all right.
but they said, no, we do not deem that to be unsafe. I mean, it's a long process, but you have to get their approval.
See, and I think the town of Wayland on 92 is trying to do it, but I don't think it's been passed
yeah, I
yet.
don't think. Well, I looked it
I
up.
think-
and
I would have to
wrote
look,
my
but I
letter
think they
asking
just
it to
did.
be
Oh, really?
reduced on
I
the
think
case.
it just went into effect like a month ago.
Really?
I would have to ask
Good to
Carol.
know.
John, why don't you stand
That
up?
would be with the approval of the county.
Well, I don't like, I'm too shy. Well, I looked it up, and maybe I have the wrong section of the law, but I looked it up when I was trying to ask for McKay Street for it to be changed on McKay. And under section 1622 of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law, it states that the town board and county highway commissioner can request that the speed limit be changed on county roads. That's what I
Right.
read.
And
You
that's
can
what we-
request, but it's not
Request it,
guaranteed
request
that
it,
they'll
yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
But it's up to the Department of Transportation to approve it.
Right.
Yep.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
But that, I mean, that road is just a speedway,
It is
you know,
55.
and
It is.
the
It is.
30.
All the way up and,
All the way up
All the way to
until
Douglas
Douglas.
House.
I
that
went
stop
today.
sign wasn't even put there until, what, 2
Years
years ago?
When they
It was,
repaved
and
the
it was a
road.
yield.
Yeah,
before
they
it was
just
a
stuck
yield
it in
sign.
there when they
We
Pete,
asked, we requested
Pete.
it to be a stop sign.
Do I have
because
92
of,
wrong?
a
What's the one that
complaint,
goes out
and
through Perkinsville
They
out to
told me no
63?
when I called,
That's
and then
Michigan
next thing I
Street.
knew, the next day
No,
it was
the other
there.
way.
It was surprising.
Oh, that's 90.
But there are
Okay,
so
that's
many
the one they
children
changed.
that are
92 is
playing
from
around this
Uncle
village.
Dave's
Yeah.
shop to the lake.
415.
You don't
Okay, it
need
was
to be
90 then.
55 on that road. You,
No.
55 is unreasonable on that road.
It's very fast.
Yep.
There's
It
not
should
very,
stay-
there's not very wide
You should
shoulders
move that
either.
30 sign all the way to the end. You,
And I mean, I
when you're
just-
turning into from 371, you're going slow enough to turn, you should stay that speed.
Well, it was just, that's what I had, you know, like, I
And
would like to
did
see them
send
all
a
changed.
request to the commissioner too, but I didn't hear anything from him.
I would make a motion that the town board write to New York State Department of Transportation and the county and request to look at those 4 streets and to move the stop signs to the speed signs to the end as they come into the hamlets.
Would we do it in the form of doing some kind of local law, or do we just ask it?
I have to admit, I'm not familiar with setting speed limits on town roads. I know what the procedure is in the village, but I can look that up fairly quickly.
But that one there is a county, so
That's a county road, so.
Sorry?
that
Yeah.
McKay Street is County
It's a
Route
county, so
36.
that's different, yeah, than Atlanta Back Road.
Right.
Or Beecher Street.
So it would probably be
Well, my
different.
guess would be that
process.
you're gonna need at least the county's permission to do
You
that.
request it from them.
Beecher Street
Well,
is
they
county
would-
roads also.
That's a very
They
good.
would-
We would,
they
yeah.
did it for the stop sign, but we at least request them to do it.
37, isn't it?
Move it down to the end of 371, that intersection.
Which one's
This is 36.
McKay Street.
Yeah, both up to 371 up to 415, by the minute.
Yeah, so the only one that's not a county road
Do you wanna
is
do
cemetery and the
That's
best
part of it. While you're there.
What do you mean, oh, the Jake breaks?
Right.
I was just using that as an example of
Mhm.
how fast people go on that road. The Jake breaks, I don't know which farm they're coming from, all I know is they're coming from 371, and they get about to my house, which is the blue ranch, and on comes, it's either Jake break or straight pipes.
It's Jake
They
Break.
got all they can do to get to that, and they can't stop, they roll through it, but it at least slows them down by the time they get to the stop sign on the corner of University.
Which my farm's down at the end of McKay Street, and I use a Jake Break coming into town also. That's just,
It's the safety
All
measure
right.
for them.
I mean, it's mine. I know what and who you're talking about.
We all do.
It all gets annoying, because I live on the other end, and I can hear it, but I use it too.
Ms. Singles, I spoke to the 3 farmers that haul manure today, and they will speak to their employees to not do it in the hamlet, because I stressed, you do not need a Jake break, sorry, in this town.
Don't need to be
You
going.
need it coming down Pine Hill and Let Hill, but you do not need it in a 30-mile-an-hour speed zone. And they said they would talk to them, so I still think it's a good idea, if it's really rampant here, to look into it, but I would leave it with you to see if it stops. But they
Well,
assured me
it's-
they would speak to them.
The snowstorm stopped it for a while, but I'm assuming it will be going again.
It'll be
for too long.
spring.
It still wouldn't hurt.
And I grew up on a farm, so I know about trucks, but it's just,
It still wouldn't hurt for you to go talk to those 3 farmers too. Sometimes it means more for a farmer to hear it from.
Right, and that's
from-
why I approached them, because it was, they might not realize that they hire people, so they don't know unless they hear the complaint.
Well, we've noticed they've changed their routes lately. I mean, you've gotta be getting more traffic than we used to in this area. The trucks are constantly
Honestly,
coming through.
it's only gonna get worse when they shut the bridge down on 21.
Yeah, well, that's probably
They're gonna
why
put all that
yeah.
traffic on 36.
yep.
They say it's gonna detour to 415, but anybody knows it's gonna come down
Oh,
Beecher
yeah,
Street,
sure.
and it's gonna come down 36.
Yep.
I sat in on that bridge closure meeting with that guy from DOT, and he says, oh, they're gonna go around the village and town. No, they're not.
Yeah, I was here at that one, I just do, just looking at the map there, there ain't no way in hell that's gonna go
Right,
work.
so it's only gonna get worse, I would imagine, your traffic.
Yeah, cause then you're gonna have out of town trucks.
People, yep.
Well, and the board maybe we can send a letter also just requesting that.
That may be your way in, your ticket in to get the county to do that,
Yeah.
by having that bridge closed up there.
Right, hang it
Oh,
over their head a
yes,
little bit.
absolutely,
It's
good
the
idea.
traffic.
And that's who, I would send that letter,
Yeah,
I would send your letter, there's a guy in Hornell that is kinda ahead of this area.
Yeah, he's heading that up. What's his
Steve
name?
something, I think.
Is it either one that was here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
no,
in
I-
there.
Yeah,
He's
then
like
we
the
were, he
project
did like a
manager
Zoom
of
meeting
it.
with
Well,
a.
you
You wanna
can go back
comment?
on
You wanna
the
comment?
minutes.
Right,
Yeah,
And
I
find
think we
his
have a
name.
card,
You have
we
his
have a
card?
card, a business card.
And get him on board with it to send a letter too.
cause he might be able to chew on somebody's ear a little bit and.
that
Yeah,
could
'cause it's
be,
only gonna get
absolutely.
worse.
Well,
I've got his name in here somewhere.
that might
We'll
really
figure it
be, absolutely the answer for, right, to say we know they're gonna come this way, they're not going
I stated
15
that,
miles out of their way to, when they know they can zip through
I
here.
stated that in that,
Yeah,
in that meeting, or in that Zoom call with him, and he's just putting his
Great
hours
idea.
in.
So make it work for us.
do we need a motion, or we'll just,
Did you finish the other one? Tay?
No, you
Oh,
made the
geez.
motion, nobody seconded it.
For the roads, to contact the county and the state to
Right.
change so I made the motion.
I'll second it. Any further discussion, on contacting the county? All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll draft a letter and get it to everybody to approve, and we'll send one asking, maybe he'll come again, or,
Did they say when they're gonna start that?
I think she's got
2022.
that Highway diversion program, is that?
Mhm.
That's
Bridge
that's
over.
next.
Behind, or if you're going towards Wayland from North Cohocton, it's the bridge in Bowles Corners past Matt Dusenberry's house.
Oh, okay.
They wanna close the road down completely, cause it's gonna cost more money to put a diversion around there.
oh, that isn't what that's about, but
No.
Mark, you said,
The other couple other things I had were the ATV UTV law. If you guys had a chance to read it, I know there's a lot of them out there. I only sent one out.
I'm sure I'll send us the second
What,
one.
what's your goal, Mark?
I don't personally have a goal. I've had people come to me and ask me about it. And I was asked because they've been pulled over by the state troopers. And the state troopers will give them a warning, say, hey, you can't be doing this, we're gonna write you, you're not gonna get a warning again. So I've been approached a couple times to see if we can get it passed. We don't bother anybody, as long as they're not horse shitting around on them. The only ones that we stop and tell them, hey, you can't be using them, operating them, are underage kids, like the 14-year-old, the 15-year-olds that can't be operating them on a road. So we make them take them home, tell the parents, hey, next time we're gonna have it towed because they can't legally be on the road with it. But I do know some troopers are starting to push the issue. So that's why I wanted to bring it to you guys again to say, hey, if we have something, then the residents that do travel up to the back roads or to go from their house up to, they'd be okay. They wouldn't, we'd have that local law to cover them that says that they can.
So how would the local law be different? They'd still have to be registered. If they're registered, they can.
Well, because you cannot legally operate one on the road. Whether, the only one, I think I gave the example before was, I think Mr. Wallace has one that has a sprayer on the back of his ATV that he uses. The only thing he uses it for is to spray his field. he can actually use that because now he's exempt, he can say that is farm use
Agricultural
implement
equipment.
only. You can't have a UTV, throw some hay in the back and say I'm gonna go feed the cows because it's
Yes, you
not,
can.
it's
an
not implemented.
agricultural
You can
equipment.
argue it, but I can tell you, you cannot, I have the law that says you cannot, that's not farm use only. I'm not saying you can't use it for that because nobody's gonna bother you, but according to the law, and I have it, is you can't do that.
You'd have to show it to me, because I've talked to troopers and we can. It's agricultural equipment. And it's,
I have the
Even
copy down there,
writing-
I'll get it to you
they're
tomorrow.
even changing the law so that it's 1,500 pounds.
And I
and
get that, and they're,
70.
and they're still trying to change the law where you can register them,
Right.
but it's been in Senate for 8 years now.
It passed
And
the
they,
Senate, passed the Assembly.
and it
and
still hasn't
Transportation
been-
As of March 2021.
we'll see, we'll see if it goes. Because I believe the state is missing out on a lot of money of not being
Oh,
able to
gosh,
register
yeah.
them.
You know, they're busy with marijuana right now. So if we made a local.
But the law says agricultural use only, and that's what it says. So like, your side by side, if you throw hay in it, you can still use it for something else. You know, like you can still use it for recreational use. A tractor, you're gonna use for agricultural use only. Mr. Wallace's, that's got the tank on it with the sprayer, he's not gonna use that to do anything else except sprays, or spray his
Big
field.
sale on tanks.
I
I mean, if we
have
made
a
a,
bunch out in the garage
made a
that my
local
husband
law,
used to
state
use,
troopers are
but
not gonna go by the local law.
Well, the state troopers
we might
would have to go, as long as there's a local law. Other towns and other areas get away with it. I think the one I used was Cornellsville,
Cornell.
because they passed that. And I think they got theirs from someplace down in Allegheny County. You asked me, Cheryl, what am I gonna gain out of it? I'm not gonna gain anything.
No, I just wondered what your goal was. Was it to clamp down more on people or to allow them more, be more lenient, safety, that type of issue?
I
What
think
was-
it's more for the safety issue, and the ones that enjoy it, just to go out with their spouse for a nice little ride up through the countryside. And then they don't get, it's, the young kids that are hot dogging it around, they're the ones we still stop them, we still ride them. That's the only thing I'm looking for. And they still, even though if there is a local law, they still have to obey by, the VTL laws, you know, like they can't be, I think there's a speed limit to them. If it has seat belts, they're still supposed to wear the seat belt. ATV, they're supposed to have a helmet on, stuff like that.
Drinking and driving.
What's that?
So, drinking and driving,
Right.
open containers.
So it was just something that was brought to me by a few people, and I brought it to you. You can table it, discuss it, think about it. I want to stay on top of it. If you turn it down, I'll let them know. Now we can go on, if you're done, the body cameras, I brought that up last month also about the police reform and how Governor Cuomo wants everybody to go to body cameras, and Corning Inc. is gonna purchase them. I just have to give them our final say, so yes, the town board wants the agency to go to those, or no, we opt out.
He should have one.
I'll make a motion that we authorize Mark to go ahead and.
The first 2 years won't cost anything. The initial upfront cost is all through Corning Incorporated, which is the big substantiated amount. Year 3, 4, and 5 is approximately $3,100.
Oh,
Yeah.
If we decide to stay with them, we can opt out and then buy our own storage.
How long before it's gonna be mandated?
State police are mandated starting in April. So eventually, if he gets his way, it's gonna